Okay, the worst thing ever we focused in on during our back to school months was cheating. I tell you, it's one of the worst ones ever. Basically, it's because cheaters think they can win. But in reality, when you cheat, you set a bad example for other people. Meaning you're teaching the younger generation it's okay to cut corners. I mean, seriously though, you can't get ahead by cutting corners. As we're about to show you, these cheaters take it the very wrong way. And later on, we're going to introduce you to somebody who cheats on exams, and also teachers who cheat. Take a look at this.
Hope you studied for your quiz. All right, class. Hope you studied for your quiz. Now's a good time, as always, to remind you of how I feel about academic dishonesty. Please keep your eyes on your own paper. You may begin. Oh man, I didn't study. Where's Sal? Matt, what's this?
It's nothing.
What are you doing?
I'm not. Nothing. I'm just taking my.
This is cheating. You look at all sorts of stuff. This is cheating. You're cheating. This is cheating. No cheating.
And that's another thing. Cheaters never win.
All right, class, time to begin in 3, 2, 1. No cheating. Okay, class, I need to leave the room for a minute. Remember, no cheating while I'm gone.
It's just how it is. I hate when people cheat. You can't get ahead by just cutting corners. That's not the way life works. You can't get ahead. I mean, we don't want to be like Sheldon. I mean, nobody would want to be like Sheldon. Nobody ever. But the thing you have to be able to be understandable about is if you start to cheat, you're setting a bad example. And all these kids realize that cheating is bad. Especially when you get caught, in fact, studies have shown that 73% of all test takers, including prospective graduate students and teachers, agree that most students do cheat at some point. And somewhat of these consequences can include the zero longing for a grade, the contact with the administration, a call to parents, suspension from school. If you're a repeat offender, you could be expelled. That's happening at this school. Other times, what they would do, 0 on the assignment or quiz, 0 for the semester or course, and then the parent has to be notified. I mean, it's just a phone call home saying, hey, your son's in trouble, this, that, and the other. Saying all this, saying, he's cheating on here, we need to schedule a conference, blah, blah, blah. Here's the thing. Cheating's bad. Here's the bottom line here. Cheating is bad. Cheaters never win. Cheating is not cool. Study for your test and don't hide objects to cheat. People can really look around here. Still to come, school confrontations. A parent confronts a school principal for falsely accusing his daughter of being intoxicated when it was just allergies. And a dad who confronts school boards also. Also a parent who called a school district groomer. Please stay with us. As long as on the subject of cheating, we're going to focus on a couple of stories all about this. From a person cheating the SATs, which is a big part of high school, if you want to get a good college, to teachers like one you're about to meet were caught correcting and erasing and correcting wrong answers. First though, if you've ever watched headlines or you've ever been to the state of this person you're about to meet, you might know Sam Eschergoff. If you don't know who he is, if you watch the headlines, he was the person that you would pay to get, that he would take your SATs, not his own SATs, your SATs, meaning you would pay him to take your SATs. And it'd be easy to cheat the system. All you would need is a student ID, and then you would be able to take that someone's test. But how easy is it? Tonight, for the very first time, you're going to meet Sam Eschergoff as he tells his side of the story about why he cheated, why he took the SAT for other people, and why it's never a good idea to commit fraud, to commit fraud in the very first place. Here's Alison Stewart.
I thought that there was an easy way to make money. And just like any other easy way to make money, it's always too good to be true.
Who told you you were in trouble?
My parents got a phone call saying that there was a warrant for my arrest, which was scary and shameful. I felt like my world was going to come crashing down.
Until he was arrested in September, Sam Eschergoff seemed like the perfect kid. At New York's Great Neck North High School, he was a top student, vice president of the business club, and a varsity athlete. But what may have been his greatest talent was the one that got him in trouble: his ability to ace standardized tests, which was how he began a double life as a con man.
I would call him an academic gun for hire. That's what he was.
People just needed him to get a job done, and he got it done.
And he was the man.
Nassau County District Attorney Kathleen Rice filed criminal charges against Eschergoff and the students who hired him.
This was a huge fraud from my perspective. This was lots of money exchanging hands. There were high stakes involved, and there was forgery, there was criminal impersonation. That's a fraud. It's a fraud on many different levels. But most importantly, against the kids who play by the rules.
During the course of the investigation, what did you discover about the process of taking the SAT and the security associated with taking an SAT test?
How incredibly easy it is to cheat the system. There is absolutely no security in place whatsoever to prevent criminal impersonation like we see here from happening.
So if I went up to any one of those kids and I say, do you know what this guy did? They'd all know.
Every single person would know who I am and what I do.
Ashigoff says paid test takers were an open secret among students at Great Neck North. He became the best known, but he says he was not the first.
I had heard of it happening successfully in my own high school.
So tell me about taking the mental leap from, well, I heard other kids are doing it, to, I think I'm gonna do this.
Well, it all started with some kid approaching me, and he's like, yo, you're good on your SATs, and I'm not, and you know this is possible, so how much is it gonna take?
Here's how he did it. It was as simple as making a high school ID, one of 6 forms of identification accepted at SAT testing centers.
A school ID is what is that? It's some colors with literally a name and a picture on it. So what I would do is I took the template for my high school ID, pasted my picture on top of it, and whatever person's name whose test I was taking, I would have their name and date of birth on it. And it was really as easy as that.
No social security number, no
No social
driver's
security.
license, no passport,
Name and date of birth.
on a little piece of plastic.
On a little piece of plastic like I laminated once.
Fake ID in hand, and with a bad case of nerves, Eshigoff began his lucrative career.
As soon as I took that first test and I went in and I killed it. Like I got my first time ever taking the test for somebody else, I got a perfect score in the math section. It was like, whoa, that was easy and that was great and I'm good at this.
It was clockwork from there. Over the course of nearly 3 years, he took the SAT over and over again, consistently scoring in the 97th percentile or higher for the students he called his clients.
I mean, my track record speaks for itself. Like, if you know somebody's so stellar at doing something so flawlessly without one exception, it goes without saying that's a reliable service.
Were you invested at all in the score you would get?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Just like any other business person, like, you want to have a good track record, right? And essentially, like, my whole clientele were based on word of mouth and like a referral system. So as soon as I saved one kid's life,
Saving his life?
saving his
What
life.
do you mean by saving his life?
I mean, a kid who has a horrible grade point average, who no matter how much he studies is gonna totally bomb this test. By giving him an amazing score, I totally give him a new lease on life. He's gonna go to a totally new college. He's gonna be bound for a totally new career and a totally new path in life.
But isn't he going to take the place of someone who may have actually worked for it and deserve that position?
I hear that, but I don't care for a complaint like that. That one kid that I helped get into whatever school, he really wasn't displacing anybody.
You sound like you want to defend their right to be in these
I don't have
schools.
to defend them, but I feel confident defending the fact that them getting into the schools that they ended up getting into didn't really affect other people.
But it's possible.
It's possible.
If that sounds outrageous, it's because his high scores and his clients' money trumped right and wrong. At the height of his business, Eshigoff was able to charge as much as $2,500 per test. One very satisfied customer gave him an $1,100 tip.
A lot of times I would actually even induce a bidding war between two potential clients. Have them fight against each other for who was going to pay me more.
He didn't stop after he left for college. He just added the cost of flying back home to his fee.
The big question for me comes back to, where are kids getting this money to give you? Because we're talking about thousands of dollars. And then if you add airfare,
Yeah.
do you know where they were getting the money?
I mean, I can't imagine that a high school kid would be able to get this kind of money on his own, from working or something. I don't know. Maybe it came from their parents. I mean, I wasn't really gonna ask them, okay, so where are you getting the money from? But come on, let's put 2 and 2 together.
I've read this, but I want to hear it from you.
Mhm.
You took the SAT for girls.
Correct.
How do you take the SAT for girls?
Like, if the girl has a foreign name, that could be perceived as unisex. Like, a girl could be named Alex, but if she needs me to go and take her SATs under the name Alex, whatever, it's easy as that.
Did you ever take the SAT twice in one weekend?
Yeah, actually, I have done that.
Eshigoff exploited accommodations that the Educational Testing Service provides to make the SAT accessible to everyone. That's why a high school ID is an acceptable form of identification. Also, students can take the test at any of the 6,000 testing centers nationwide. So Eshigoff would choose centers where he knew he wouldn't be recognized. Describe the security for me when you as a student show up to take your SAT.
When I go to take the SAT, it's as easy as going in, keeping your head down, giving that proctor the flash of the ID, which is all they need. They just need to match the name on the ID to the name on their roster. And then it's find your seat, don't make noise, don't cause trouble, do what you gotta do and get out.
Who are the proctors? Do you know who the proctors were at these tests?
I realized that the proctors were just like junior faculty members and like cafeteria aides and like staff that really had no business proctoring a test.
So you didn't feel like you had to go past a security gauntlet?
Oh, not at all. I mean, no security gauntlet. I mean, how hard would it be to trick a cafeteria aide into letting you sit in that seat?
Is it easy to cheat on the SAT?
No, I don't believe it is.
Kurt Landgraf is president of the Educational Testing Service, which administers the test for the College Board and is responsible for SAT test security.
This is not a common occurrence.
How many impersonations did ETS discover last year?
About 150.
But in reality, that's the 150 you know about. That doesn't mean there were only 150 impersonations.
Absolutely.
Landgraf says, according to their data, of the 3 million students who take the SAT every year, more than 99% do so honestly. His organization spends $11 million on SAT test security annually. Do you know how many times Sam Eshigoff took the SAT?
Actually, I don't.
16 times. Does that surprise you?
No.
That he was able to get by your proctor 16 times?
Well, if he had an ID with his picture on it, and he had and a name, and the registration document had that name on it, he could get in. Sure. No, it doesn't. Unfortunately, it doesn't surprise me.
Does it concern you about the integrity of your test if one teenage kid can do that 16 times? And that's all that we know about from him alone.
Yeah. So the integrity of the test, the validity of the test score, is the primary concern of ETS and the College Board. Since I believe that almost all the students take the test honestly, with integrity, and the score is valid, it's very important that we not overreact to this case or any future cases and do things that would be onerous and detrimental to the actual long-term security or access for the administration.
Sam Eshigoff is a smart kid, but you don't have to be a brainiac to cheat the system the way it exists at this present time. There's absolutely no security procedure in place. Any review is done after the fact, which prevents any level of accountability once cheaters are caught, and that system has to change.
We now know that the security vulnerabilities we exposed in September are a systemic problem.
Since Eshigoff's arrest, the investigation has grown. More than 50 students have been implicated in what District Attorney Rice calls well-run cheating operations in 4 different New York counties. Rice says she discovered a sophisticated system of brokers who would match buyers and sellers based on their ability to pay and their ability to score.
We know that there are students who met with someone who acted as a middleman, who said, tell me what you want, tell me what you need, how much money do you have, okay, I'll set up the test taker and they'll take the test for you. I mean, this is big business, and it didn't just start in 2011. This has been going on, this criminal impersonation has been going on for years, I mean decades, all across this country.
Sam Eshigoff was caught after several of his clients, students with suspiciously high scores, were questioned and confessed. 6 weeks ago, Eshigoff's legal team accepted a plea deal, which includes community service, tutoring low-income students on how to take the SAT.
Was there ever a point when you were taking these tests that you had a conversation with yourself that went like this? Sam, I know I'm doing the wrong thing. I'm lying here. This is not right. I gotta stop this. Did you ever have that conversation with yourself?
Yeah, I did. It was tough. I knew I was doing the wrong thing. I fully acknowledged that this is the wrong move, and I gotta stop this. But I guess I was low on cash, and I just told myself one last time, one last time, one last time.
You feel bad about what you did?
If I could start over, I never would have done it.
Eshigoff is back at college now. And if you're wondering what happened to the kids he helped get into school, their colleges will never be notified about what they did, because it is ETS policy not to tell schools about cases of suspected or confirmed cheating.
We know that there are kids in college right now who got where they are because of tests that someone else took, and there's nothing that we can do about it. If that doesn't tell you that the system has to change, I don't know what does.
But things have got to change from this point here. You can't create policies which say, hey, we can't discuss with the board. You need to. If colleges get suspicious, then they have the right to answer questions. You can't be all like, that's none of your business. Excuse me? It is our business. This is the bottom line here. Do not cheat, period. Tests, assignments, whatever. Especially for teachers. Next, a teacher cheats. These teachers were caught erasing and correcting wrong answers. This attorney says the State Department of Education is one of the biggest culprits ever. And this government, and this watchdog group says that and this watchdog person says that, you know, what do your children know and when do they know it? Teacher is a cheater. Yeah, when we come back, stay with us. You know, when I was a kid in school, the worst thing that when we were growing up in school, the worst thing that could happen to you was to get kicked out for cheating. Now teachers can go to jail for it. It's not students we're talking about, the teachers. It's happening all over the country. Tonight, we're going to show you a secret that's been played out by school districts all over the country. By teachers who had great pressures to getting those test scores up. In cases like this, cash bonuses and increased funds for schools. And for one teacher you're about to meet, it was as simple. It's as easy as count as doing your ABCs and 1, 2, 3s. Here's Molly Safer.
I want to remind you that this morning you will be taking tests in the areas of language and mathematics. These tests are very important to each of you and to our school.
There's supposed to be great security surrounding achievement tests. Teachers must sign out for the tests and the students' answer sheets.
Thank you.
Tests are supposed to be sealed. Often they are not. Since the point of the test is to learn what children know and when they know it, teachers are not supposed to know what questions are on the test. So they will not, even subconsciously, teach the test to their classes. That's the theory. But one South Carolina teacher who is reluctant to show her face for fear of losing her job says at her school, all the teachers know what's on the test, and the principal encourages them to cheat.
Has he ever said, cheat, give them the answers, give them the questions, teach the test?
Teach the items that are on the test, teach the material that will be on the test.
How do you know what's on the test?
We see the test.
She says the school administration gave her the test a week before test day. When she questioned this, she says she was told by her principal to be a team player.
Have you ever looked at those papers the kids turned in and corrected them?
I've never changed
People at your school have changed answers?
Yes?
It can be as blatant as that. But the most common form of cheating is what teachers euphemistically call test preparation. See the test, then teach the test. That's a crime in South Carolina. Only one teacher has ever been prosecuted, Nancy Yergin.
You gave them the exact questions and answers.
I simply taught the material, but I used the specific material that was going to be asked in the test. I didn't teach them all about all of the invasions in World War II, knowing that only the Berlin airlift was going to be covered. I just simply dealt with the Berlin airlift.
And the question and the answer.
Yes, exactly the material they would be asked. And I did not give them any of the related material that might confuse them.
You zeroed them in on
Yes, I did.
precisely the question.
Yes, I tried to.
Precisely the answer.
The exact material.
And the same questions were used year after year, correct?
Right. This was, when I gave the test last year, that was the 8th year the same identical test had been used, verbatim.
Nancy Yergin, among the most popular teachers at Greenville High, once named Teacher of the Year by the PTA. After she was caught, she says she heard from other teachers who told her cheating was commonplace.
I know some schools that have bi-weekly meetings at grade levels to go over material that's going to be given on the test.
John Graham Altman, attorney and longtime member of the Charleston County School Board in South Carolina. Cheating in his school district, he says, is so widespread, the tests have become meaningless.
I think they have less value than a broken clock. They just don't give you any useful information.
The most compelling evidence Altman offers that there's something very fishy in the system is that while South Carolina's elementary and high school achievement scores soar over the national average, the state is at the bottom nationally in college boards and other tests local schools do not control.
I think it's just sheer fraud to tell a student or his parents that he's doing better than he really is.
The effect of this is that it allows poor schools to continue to be poor and escape the eye of public inquiry.
Dr. John Cannell has become something of a legend in the world of education. His watchdog group, called Friends for Education, has been tracking the whole business of achievement testing. He says the public education system is riddled with cheating, but the education establishment, in using test results to show progress, is committing a nationwide scam.
Headline story, front page story, Washington, D.C. students score well on national test. Well, that story is printed by the Chicago Tribune and the San Francisco Chronicle and the Los Angeles Times and even the New York Times. And everywhere, superintendents are able to feed these bogus test scores to the print media. The scores are printed, the superintendent gets their raises, and the people of that state are convinced that they're not part of a nation at risk.
Dr. Cannell says the only unusual thing about the Nancy Yergin case was that it became public when this Greenville High teacher blew the whistle. She is Catherine Rice. A year ago, she was supervising an achievement test in her homeroom class when she saw one of Nancy Yergin's students pull out a stack of notes.
I glanced at them and realized they were a copy of the test, a handwritten copy of the test with the answers underlined.
Questions?
Questions and answers. 6 pages.
Were you surprised by this?
Yes, I was floored.
I understand that he took the notes from that we took in class with him to the test and hoped to use them to help him answer the questions on the test. That was cheating.
But
where had he gotten the notes?
Where had he gotten the notes?
From me. Right. The material from me.
Nancy Yergin says she was encouraged by her principal, Linda Ward, who she says told her that when she was a teacher, she had done similar preparation for her students, and that it was important to get those test scores up.
She said to me at that time, she looked at me and she said, "We've got to get more teachers doing what you're doing. They're playing that same game everywhere else and we're just not taking part."
That's not true. And I'm sorry that an untrue statement like that has been made. I never cheated, I never condoned cheating, I never encouraged cheating, and I never implicitly gave anyone a green light.
Is there pressure on you as principal to get those scores up?
No. We all like to have good scores. We like our school to show up well on that list in the newspaper. But the real pressure I feel is to do a good job with the curriculum. And of course, I don't get a bonus. No matter what the scores are, principals don't get any bonuses.
But the school does.
This school gets some money, yes.
Not just the school. The state also rewards teachers. Cash bonuses to those whose classes show improved test scores. A number of teachers at Greenville High received bonuses, Nancy Yergin among them. Linda Ward denies putting pressure on teachers. She says when Nancy Yergin was caught, she turned the matter over to the district superintendent. Nancy Yergin says she did not tell the superintendent about the pressure she felt from her principal.
He said to me, if I thought your principal knew about this, she would be in as much trouble as you're in. And when those words came out of his mouth, that really, I did not reveal that to him.
Why not?
Why? Because of my feeling for Linda.
Nancy Yergin says she idolized Linda Ward, wanted to be like her, and even now, a year after the incident, she can barely mention her name without tears. Ward offered to let Yergin resign. Yergin chose to fight. It became a public issue. WYFF, a local TV station, covered a public hearing in which a crowd of parents and students rallied to Yergin's support.
She takes time with us and she really explains everything in detail and she cares about us and she really shows it.
To no avail. She was fired and shortly after was arrested for breach of test security. She took to the airwaves.
Do you think it was bad that your son was given that study sheet ahead of time?
Absolutely not. We love you, Nancy.
Live.
Hang in there.
Thank you. I appreciate your support.
But finally, her nerve gave out and she pleaded guilty and was fined $500. The 90-day jail sentence was suspended, and then the final blow. Her teaching certificate was withdrawn. Nancy Yergin will never teach again.
I didn't establish the penalties, nor did she, but she certainly knew prior to cheating what the possible consequence was.
Can you and Linda Ward look at each other in the eye these days?
I haven't seen Linda in a long time. I would like to. But I don't think she wants to see me.
What would you say to her?
I'm sorry.
The state accused her of cheating for money. For the total of $5,000 in bonuses she received over 2 years. She denies it. She says she was only trying to help the poor kids, the black kids.
A lot of these children are disadvantaged, and for them to have an experience, one more knockdown experience, and one more time being told, you're nothing, you're stupid, you're less than quality. You're told that often enough, pretty soon you believe it. And then you wonder why they don't want to stay in school.
Dr. Cannell believes Nancy Yergin's attitude is common. The net effect of making exceptions for the poor and the black at test time is a form of racism.
In fact, what these tests do is hide the great inequality in American education. If you're born poor and black in South Carolina, you're going to stay poor and black all your life because the public schools, when you finish the public schools in South Carolina, you're going to be illiterate.
Cannell concentrates his anger on achievement testing in the poorest parts of the country. But the corruption of the system seems to be everywhere. The Franklin Avenue School in Los Angeles, one of 68 California schools in which principals and teachers were caught cheating, caught erasing and correcting wrong answers. In Memphis, Tennessee, one teacher confessed that with the principal's complicity, students were given copies of the test before taking it. And teachers have been caught cheating in Texas and Illinois.
Everybody in education knows what's going on. And the State Department of Education is one of the greatest culprits here in this state. They ride those test scores. And they go up and they say, give us more money, hire more people, pay them bigger salaries. It's a racket. And the public's suffering for it. And the taxpayers are hurting, and I guess most of all, the kids are hurting.
Dr. Charlie Williams, the superintendent of South Carolina's Department of Education, dismisses such allegations.
A lot of people may say a lot of things that don't make them accurate. That doesn't make them accurate.
He says the pressures teachers feel to get the scores up have a positive effect.
I think the pressure causes people to teach more effectively. The assumption that's being drawn by you and others is that pressure causes teachers to become cheaters and dishonest people.
I asked, how do you know it's not going on?
Well, first of all, most teachers are sincere about teaching kids rather than making the test scores look good.
People that think that need to come down to the real classroom and see what's going on.
If everybody knows, how come nothing's been done?
It doesn't benefit any school person to do anything about it. Can you think of one, well, I'm not supposed to be asking questions, but can you think of any school official who benefit from low test scores?
Never mind test scores, Dr. Cannell feels this whole story can be reduced to two fundamental questions.
What do your children know, and when do they know it? Because if you don't get an accurate answer to that question, your child is going to join the increasing numbers of young adult illiterates in this country, and it's going to be too late.
And it will be too late if it doesn't happen. So, ain't just with students. This was long before No Child Left Behind. So here's the common sense for all teachers: don't be cheating on these tests. It's wrong. Alright, we're focusing on cheating. Now, school confrontations. A parent confronts the school who falsely accused her daughter of being high on marijuana. It's a story we focused in on before. Now for this back to school month, we're going to tell you some hints and tips about what you can do next time you want to appeal this decision the right way. When we come back, stay with us. There's nothing more greater than trying to confront your school saying that you falsely accused of what happened. Well, in the case of what happened back in May, a student is accused of smoking marijuana when in fact her father says that she had allergies. Her and her family had allergies. Not just her and her dad, the mom too. If you've been watching the show, we told you about this case and we showed you 3 video clips talking about this. But there is a new twist to this story. We actually showed you 2. There's actually a third one. The third video of this. We'll show you that in just a minute. But first, here's the thing. If you're going to confront the school about this, you need to do this very nicely. I'm going to tell you, appealing decisions. If it's like, okay, you're suspended for this, and if you want to appeal it, you don't need to film it, post on social media and say, hey, look what I got. No. What you need to do is to just listen and do what's asked of them. If they say, hey, we need a test and an appeal, this is what they need, then provide them with those. And if you provide them with those, it can all go away. Your child can go back to school, and then all of a sudden, this, that, and the third can happen. For this case right here, Mike Bartles didn't do crap but videotape and say, this is what he did. Hands him a piece of paper saying, a physician just said she should come back to school, hand it to him, gave him the bird, gave a staff member the bird, and then sent her on and just dropped her off. No indication, no communication, just like that. That's not how it works. The drug test needs to be, if it's all negative, okay, just bring back to the school and then you'll hear from the principal. Ain't that simple. Take a look. You missed it, just take a look.
I am not. You're recording?
100%.
I'm not here to pick on anybody. So, based on our observation, I'm not comfortable with this because, yeah. stop recording me now.
It's a public building. I pay taxes.
Okay, we'll have to reconvene then. This will have to be a different setting.
You don't want to be recorded?
Uh-huh.
Why?
Well, I didn't do anything wrong.
You didn't
and,
cheat.
Okay, well, all we need is to, based off our observations, if you're appealing it, you need to do what I asked you to do.
I'm not admitting that she did anything wrong. There's nothing to appeal. Are we reconvening or are we doing this now?
Yeah, we're gonna do this later. We've asked, we've told you what we need. We need a test and we need an appeal. And this could go away.
Let me ask you a question. Are the drug tests that you keep here on site?
I don't have drug tests.
District approved?
I don't approve.
This gentleman told me that, he didn't tell me that the drug test I was bringing was not district approved when we spoke yesterday.
You're right, I didn't.
Why is that?
Because we have to ask questions and find things out.
Because you didn't know.
We always have to ask questions. I'm telling you that.
Okay.
We have to all ask questions and find things out.
We're done.
If the drug test comes back negative, though,
when?
Why does there have to be an appeal? If it were to come back negative? I'm Mark Bartles, I'm Michael's dad, or granddad.
Because they're trying to kick her out of school. He's going out of town tomorrow.
I took your daughter from Crockett.
We live in the district.
Okay, no, but I took, when you didn't, I took her. I wanted to help her. I wanted to help her. I still want to help her.
You want to kick her out. You want to do it. You want to wrap it up before you go out of town.
Can I just ask why you think that? Like, why do you think that exactly? We haven't had much interaction with Alicia all year long.
You haven't?
She's starting to show signs of a little bit of squirreliness, so we did a little thing with the bathroom situation. We had a meeting with the teachers, which I hear went well. I don't understand why all of a sudden you think we're so against her. I get the frustration, and you think from your perspective the test proves that it was negative. I get that. I know you don't believe me when I say that, but I do. But what I'm trying to get you to understand is we don't have any reason to single out anybody. We don't have any reason to single out Alicia specifically because she's not running around Austin Middle School being some wild crazy child. There are some people that, to be honest with you.
You just said that you don't have very much interaction with her. So if you don't have very much interaction with her, how would you know that she's not speaking?
I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about her not being wild and crazy. We have to deal with this. But what I'm telling you is we don't have any incentive to go pick on a kid. We don't. It's a waste of our time to do that.
I think you're pissed off because I pissed you off, and you're retaliating against me using my daughter.
No,
and I think it's unprofessional. I think that if you guys teach the judicial system in class that you're innocent until proven guilty, you're doing the exact opposite. I'm not signing anything.
You don't have to sign anything. That's just a letter that we send out telling you the date and time of today's hearing.
Send it to my house.
We've been notifying you of what we need to make this go away, and you've refused.
I got to
flip him off.
I got a drug test. I got a drug test yesterday.
I told you that we can't take it. We need it from a doctor.
I went to the doctor and got her a drug test yesterday.
Give it to me, and this can all go away. Give it to me.
4 days, Mr. Potts. As I told you 4 times, we will get the results.
Okay.
And that's why you're trying to push this through before the 4 days.
No.
Every time I bring this up, you act like we haven't had this conversation
No, we have to have 3 days after the offense to have this meeting. Okay?
So Thursday would have been the last day?
Yes, 72 hours from when she got in trouble. Okay? We have laws we have to follow too.
Are the laws that you follow different than the laws that I serve my country for?
In some ways, yes.
School law is very different. We're not trying to, negate her educational rights. I took her in trying to help her. I want to continue to help her. I'm telling you how we can both help her. I've got a 6th grade daughter myself.
She's in 7th grade.
No, I'm saying I'm a father, and I understand. I understand you're upset. I hear you, and I'm trying to make this better. But I can't just say, I can't have staff members saying they're concerned about the safety of the child, and then I ignore it.
You're operating under this umbrella of safety. You're targeting my daughter, and you're proving it.
I walked into Miss Chapman's room to say hello to my teacher, and I was proud of her for showing up to an event. She let me know what happened, what she noticed. Yes. She's your teacher, and she knows you.
If they thought she was doing drugs, why didn't they search her bag?
She's your teacher. No, she knows. She thought you weren't acting yourself. Okay. If this shows up on social media, we're gonna have real big problems. Okay.
Are you threatening me, Mr.
No,
Boss?
I'm just saying. I'm trying my best to help you, sir.
So when it comes back negative, it's all done? No appeal needs to be done?
Well, I needed a letter saying what your plan is. I need to know a plan, and then I need a test, and this can all go away. A negative test.
My plan is yesterday, like I told you, that I take her down to the doctor's office, get her a drug test. You told me it had to be a certain kind of drug test, so I went down there and made sure I got a 17-panel drug test.
Did you do it?
Yes, sir.
Okay, well, the document you sent me said a physician's assistant said she could come back to school. You left no indication, you just dropped her off. Okay? So
I didn't
you're saying
know.
my communication's bad. I need like I asked you for this, bring me this, and it'll go away.
But when I spoke to Mr. Price and you yesterday, I told you we'd get the drug results back in 4 days. I don't know why that's hard for you to understand.
It's a meeting. We have to have, this is what we found. You haven't given us the time to meet. You've come up here, flipped him off.
Like, can I get the witness statements from yesterday?
Witness? I'm the witness.
Mrs. Chapman's witness statement? Can I get his witness statement? Can I get the statement from the officer that I'm legally obligated to have?
You'll have my referral that I saw. I can give you that.
Why don't we have it now?
You can.
So are you guys suspending her from school until that drug test comes back?
This is the original thing, and this is the purpose of this meeting, is to discuss our actions and discuss the next steps, which, jumping ahead, but like we've been talking about, is an appeal. Or in this case, the option of bringing us that drug test. I am not unclear on the fact that it takes 4 days. What I need you to kind of understand from our legal perspective is that doesn't mean that she just gets to go back into class until we have that. So that's what the onus
So she's guilty until we otherwise prove her innocent?
if that's the way you want to look at it, I don't.
She's going to be disciplined
Like I
for
said,
that time?
We can go back and change the discipline. That's not a big deal. Now, is she going to be at school? No.
That's what makes me feel we're not generally concerned about Alicia's
No.
student
And as it
well-being.
stands right now, we're 25 days of AEP starting on the 3rd, which is Friday. They will reduce that to 15 days for a class. In the meantime, as we're trying to say, if we get that approved test that we need, and I don't know if it was made clear or not, the reason that it turns out that our test or the test you bought isn't going to work is because, just quite frankly, the kids in the industry have gotten way too far ahead of the test, to the point that the kids, the parents, all of the people, they know which ones they can use now.
Yeah, no, that was
to
never
get off
explained
the
to me.
test. That's the reason. And if that wasn't explained, I apologize. I will also address why her bag wasn't searched. I 100% intended to. As I told you, I had that meeting to go to that day. And then I'm just going to be real blunt with you. You came in combative and defensive, and Mr. Potts and Officer McIntosh really didn't even have a chance to explain anything and go any further. So you took her home. And so, you're right, we never had a chance to search her bag. Have we found anything in there? I don't know. I'll be honest, I strongly suggest no. Because I'm just going to tell you from a global perspective, the kids are hiding them in the restrooms and going in there and using them. That's what I'll say about that. This is just our process.
I didn't get into this profession to hurt kids. Okay? I got in this profession to help kids. So I accepted her in from another school. I want to help her, but I can't turn a blind eye when a staff member is concerned. That would be negligence. Okay?
Okay.
let me just officially kind of explain what we have here. This is just a letter about the time and date. We threw this together kind of spur of the moment, so you're getting it now, but it does say that it was today at 3:15. This is a letter saying that you have the right to have Alicia tested for special education. She already qualifies for special education. This is just a form, again, legally, we have to provide you. This is a form with some information about AEP. Right now, this is the discipline. Get us the negative test, submit the formal appeal letter, which literally is just a letter to Mr. Potts saying, I would like to formally appeal the decision.
Based on that negative test.
Yeah,
That's
it's literally that simple.
that's all we need.
And then she's out of OSS.
We,
She's out
going
of
to that school.
we come in here, we look at the test, we all agree, okay, this is reasonable,
And
then move on.
And you're saying,
we go
you're
into
saying
our
beyond
system.
that,
We
that
go
she
into
goes
our
to-
system, we take this out, and
That's what was gonna be my next question, that's all taken out.
No.
well, this should be within the 4 days now. We took a test yesterday, that gives us until Friday to get it.
Before any of this would actually start.
Before the actual meeting.
Negative test, none of that would happen, is what you're saying.
She's not being charged with, Amarillo Police Department's not filing a police report.
Why would they?
No, I'm just saying there's not like, I'm confirming that, that's not happening. Okay, this is a school occurrence. We just need the test.
Sounds good.
So she stays home until that time. Which, when did you do the test? Yesterday?
Mm-hmm.
So Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, possibly
So
Thursday.
she took the 17 panel test yesterday.
Friday. Oh, she took the actual one yesterday.
Yes. Was it by this doctor
Monday,
that
Tuesday,
you
Wednesday,
gave it?
Thursday.
Yes.
It'll be from Care Express?
Yes.
Okay, I'll put that in my file. Okay, we're done.
Okay. Where do we go wrong here? First off, I mean, if you're going to accuse the school district of saying, well, you falsely accused my daughter, this, that, and the third, and saying you got proof of this, that, okay. If they cannot take a drug test, I mean, look at this. This father says, okay, I'm going to go to Walgreens and get a drug test. They cannot take it. Walgreens is not your personal doctor. Here's what you need. Here's the thing though. Like I talked about when I talked back in May. If your daughter's suspended from school till they get that drug test, don't go to Walgreens, get her a drug test, and go, okay, here you go. No, they need it from a quote unquote doctor. Find a place that can do drug tests. If you can do that, here's what you need to do before the 3 days. It has to be 3 days after the offense. There's still time. You have 3 days to do this. If it's on a work day, then you need to take some time off. Talk to your boss and say, hey, I can't come into work today because I gotta go get my daughter drug tested. Or just say, I need to leave 1 or 2 hours early because I need to get my daughter drug tested because she's suspended from school, this, that, and the third. And they say, okay, that's fine. For the other thing, they say, okay, that's fine, whatever, blah, 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 blah. I can say, that's fine, we'll let you know, blah, 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 blah. They say, we can't do that, we need you here. Then there's something you can do. I mean, the thing I understand here, guys, is this. I get that, you're trying to stick up for your. I get that all these parents trying to stick up for their children, saying, you falsely accused this, you falsely accused that. There is, and since I've been investigating, Since I've been investigating this case, we've learned, since we first talked about this, we've learned that the principal in this video has now been accepted into Gilbert Christian Schools. According to a post from July 8th, according to a post back in July, Gilbert Christian Schools unfortunately hired Jim Potts and blocked my wife and myself from sharing this information with the good people of Gilbert. So many people have reached out to my wife and I regarding this mishandling of so many instances in his wraith as administrator. This post intended went viral at 212 million views. We think this was outrageous, mishandled, and I don't want this to happen to anyone else. Beware of Jim Potts. God bless. Now, and before all this was on the news. And here's the thing, his wife scrolling down to her social media posts, his wife this is what his wife did. His wife took a video of the incident of this. Take a listen.
Okay, do you have the paperwork?
Okay, here we go. Take a look at this one.
Okay, do you have the paperwork? Do you want me to keep this, or do you want me to make a copy of this?
I have a copy.
So I can just keep these?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
This is a grievance against you.
Okay.
So I'm not comfortable handing you the grievance and filing against you, because I want it to get to the right place.
You're welcome to give it to the office staff.
Is there another vice principal here?
We need a copy of that too.
No, we'll need a copy of it.
Okay. Can you call Miss Phillips? Yeah, absolutely. So I can keep this though?
Yes.
And then we'll file out Miss Phillips. And then this will all be given to Mr. Potts. He'll be back on Monday. And then he can address the appeal and agreement. So you should expect to hear from him on Monday, okay?
Okay.
We'll just...
And then we would like to set up a meeting with everybody involved for a formal apology to my daughter.
Okay, that will all be handled through Mr. Potts when
Perfect, yeah.
We'll expect one from you as well. As you can clearly see, it says negative.
Ms. Phillips will be
Just
right down here.
confirming the fact that you guys were wrong.
Okay, Ms. Phillips will be right down here.
And completely baseless.
Baseless? Baseless? Why just file a grievance against him? You know, I was one step closer. You know, I really wanted to talk to him, drag him down to Corpus, talk to him and say, you were in the wrong here, you didn't do this, you didn't do that. Part of me wanted to, part of me still wants to, but the other part of me is like, don't you dare do it. I mean, I want to do this. Don't get me wrong, folks. I really want to. It would have been a Give Me a Break first. You know, the first ever Give Me a Break exclusive, me, Mike Bartles, his wife, his daughter, we sit down together, we have an interview, and then poof, a banner Give Me a Break exclusive. You know, we talk about this, I give some advice and say, look, this is what you need to do next time stuff like this happens. You need to follow, you need to do what they tell you to do. And that's just number one. Second, you can't go to Walgreens and get a drug test hoping it'll get all better. And then he can walk out of here and say, you know, Mr. Carmony's right, you know. I was in the wrong here. I mean, look, people want to think when they want to, that's completely fine. I'm not going to throw anybody on the bus. I mean, I'm not going to throw any guests on the bus and say, have him walk out here and say, well, he didn't do his job. He didn't tell us what we need. He didn't help us at all. All he just did was just throw opinions at our asses. Look, I'm all about helping people here in this community. That's why I'm the hometown hero of this community for pushing carts. I play the intersection of Waldron and SPID. Play music there. I'm all about lifting spirits and bringing smiles. But I'm not all about, trying to correct people in the right and wrong here. I mean, if that person's in the wrong, if someone were to ask me, Jonathan, how can I make sure that I'm doing this right without me getting defensive and combative? That's a good question. You need to listen, take notes, write everything down. In the case of Sherry Bartles, which is his wife, she took the liberty of posting that drug test, this drug test right here, on social media, from Care Express, all the way in Amarillo. Comments rose like, I didn't hear about this from a friend who has a family in the school district, so you're making waves. One from Mike who said, we'll do a price Jim Potts a lot of kids. I mean, I don't know about David Price, but I've known Mr. Potts for years. And he wants to start throwing people under the bus. Well, he's never thrown me under the bus. And, everyone can say to me, well, what's your opinion? Look, I've been doing this show for 7 years now. And we have done a bunch of stories. We've done a bunch of issues. We've done a bunch of stories. But when someone comes up and says, like, I'm not doing my job pretty well, I don't know what I'm talking about here. You know damn well I know what I'm talking about. I damn well know what I talk about in these cases. And if you don't believe me, look back at all the previous school-related episodes that we talked about. And believe me, you damn well know that there's an issue that needs to be talked about. If there's something that needs to be talked about, then damn well something needs to be talked about. And regardless of what happened, things have got to change. So if you're going to appeal a decision, do what's asked and handle it correctly. I mean, in Mike Bartles' case, he said, well, you falsely accused my daughter and I got to prove that she didn't. No, you went to Walgreens. He went to Walgreens and got a drug test. I'm not lying here. If you watched his story from Fox in Austin and from Amarillo, you might have gotten the wrong impression. I looked back at this video dozens of times, and believe me, who was in the wrong here? The father. The family. Who was in the right here? Mr. Potts. He didn't do anything wrong. He was trying to do his best. But the policies proceed, but the procedure of how it happened, it will change. Even then, you won't even confront school boards. When we come back, a father confronts the school board because of an incident that happened. And also, when we come back, this mother decides to call a school district groomers. Don't go away. As a father, I'm not a dad. But as a nephew, there's something I would do better than just having my hand behind my back and having one arm saying, you need to do better. In the case of this father from years ago, he was not mad. He was furious about what happened in California. In this case, if you watch this video, Brentwood Middle School pays almost $1 million in damages. And if you refer to this case, this was a case back in California, basically an autistic child. Basically from Melissa Kate. The teacher he's referring to that kicked the special needs boy was transferred to a different school within the district instead of fired. She's abused over half a dozen more students there, and it cost the school district $8 million in lawsuits. But what this father said was furious out of anger. Take a look.
To sit here and hear that, oh, this is an internal matter, I can't get my head around that. If I or
ever anybody in here walked up and threw anybody out of a chair and started kicking you? You know how many phones would be up to somebody's ear calling the police? And we're talking about a 5-year-old autistic child, much less my child or anybody's child. It's just, I question whether any of you are qualified to sit up at this board. I remember some of you being here in the last few meetings I've been to. So this isn't just news. This didn't just pop out to y'all here like it did to us. You've been knee deep in it. And just to look at you is just so difficult. I hear these flowery speeches and we're sorry. Well, sorry is a little late. And to not be angry, it's not my child. I'm not angry for those people and those parents. I'm angry for everybody else. I hear stories about children being duct taped. Who the hell do you think you are? I think come election time, it needs to be not just Mr. Grant that goes, but that principal needs to leave. Yep. The assistant superintendent needs to leave, and y'all need to be replaced. Maybe not. Maybe what we need is less education, more common sense. Yep. Because common sense, it seems to me, that teacher's been rubber-roomed, would have been gone. This would have been out in the public, and it would have been handled properly. Because what we're doing right now is bouncing off the wall. I've never seen so much anger out of people that I consider to be so tame and pacifistic. I've never seen anger. I'm looking at mothers that walk around the corner and they want to rip your arms off. And it's just an abomination I see in front of me, and I can only say you're lucky it was not my child. You're fortunate it was not my child that was thrown to the ground and killed. So you need to really get it together. Because I can guarantee the conversations I've had with people, election time comes up and we know everybody's name here. And you need to make it happen because I just don't see you being here much longer.
Now again, he confronted the school board, not with anger, but sorry, he was frustrated. He was frustrated. So, kudos for the father for standing up for other kids. I now know a mother who confronted the school board. It wasn't a covert thing. Basically, there we go. Take a look at this one.
I just want to know what it is that makes a drag show family friendly. Because if you follow it to its logical conclusion, you can slap family friendly titles on anything. You can have family friendly gentlemen's clubs, family friendly strip shows, family friendly 50 Shades of Grey read alouds. Will you approve my flyer if I want to host in all the sex secrets of the Kama Sutra for kids and families if it's family friendly? That's my question. Wow. What is it about a grown man, and I honestly, sincerely, as a woman, mean this, what is it about a grown man costumed in a sparkly bra with augmented boobs busting out, a leather miniskirt barely covering his twerking ass with tuck tape on his front while spreading his fishnetted legs as he writhes on the ground, grinding his groin next to a minor, family friendly? You owe us an answer. No. And you know, you don't get to hide by just taking something down off Peachtree and calling it a day. You owe an explanation and an apology to everyone. You all got caught with your selfie hands down. And while we have a culture that has a massive problem with child porn, with sex trafficking, you, a little school district board of adults, made the decision to feature an event to hypersexualize young children. Do you want to know that the word that defines that? It's groomer. You all played the activist pimp for an aligned surgical center and for a 21 plus gay bar. It makes you groomers and activist pimps, and we won't have those sitting on a school board who oversees the education of our children. You all stepped out of line. You should be ashamed There's nothing loving. There's nothing let's unite and include, because the logical conclusion of that is you end up in diabolical evil. There are boundaries, and you don't slap family-friendly titles on stuff to cover your ass.
It's ridiculous. You know, a bunch of comments popped up about all what happened here, but you don't slap family-friendly titles on stuff to cover your ass. Yeah, it's killed. Absolutely smashed down in the park. God bless this brave woman standing up for vulnerable, violence children. A woman who knows what a woman is. Spitting facts up here. Straight up disgusting. Everyone involved in setting up should be sued, fired, thrown in jail. Not shouting, but stamping her feet. Speaks with clarity and restraint. Thus, her credibility stays intact. This is why I call an empowered woman. One stands up to protect her family. Amen. Stand up, man. This cannot be tolerated. Family, not my family. It's sick, and the school board is accountable. Parents should stand up not just for every mother should stand up for not just her children, for other children in every community. Did she get defensive? Yes. Did she stand up for others? Yes. Did she stand up for her child? Well, if she had children, yes. But I don't think she had. I don't know if she has a child or not. This woman is without weakness, all bases covered. She's a monster, looks intelligent, very artificial, passionate. She's gold. Pull your kids out of the public schools. I mean, look, without public schools, no free education, no high school football. Without any of those, I mean, you can choose to homeschool your kids. You can choose to put your kids in private school, but you gotta pay for that. You can choose online school. And your child says, I want to drop out of school, and then your child's to go to the next step of getting a GED. Basically, it'll put you up to any X-Con. So, that's basically how it is. So, I think we've about covered it for Back to School on Flashback Friday. That was part 3, but we would do more, but that's all I got. So, that's all for now. Thanks for watching. Stop bullying, speak up. Concentration, not strength. No jaywalking, no cheating. Have a good night.